It was 2 a.m. Ibrahim Traoré was still in his office. Phones were ringing non-stop. The central bank president, economy minister, and several advisors were in an emergency meeting. Terrible news flashed on the screen. French banks halt money transfers to Burkina Faso. IMF suspends loan payments, CFA franc being withdrawn from market. The country's economic collapse could begin within hours. Traoré slammed his fist on the table. This is how they've controlled us for years. Even our money isn't our own. Then he turned to his team and laid out a plan so bold that everyone stared in disbelief. "We can't do this," said the finance minister. "Nobody has ever done it." Traoré smiled. "Then we'll be the first." The tension in the presidential palace's meeting room was palpable. Outside, the lights of Ouagadougou city sparkled, while inside, Burkina Faso's future was being thrown into uncertainty. Ibrahim Traoré walked to the window, hands clasped behind his back, looking out with thoughtful eyes. "How much reserves do we have?" he asked, without turning from the city. Dr. Amina Konate, the central bank president, looked at her file. "Officially $400 million, but most of it is held in accounts in Paris. We can't access it now." "And gold?" asked Traoré. "We have 78 tons of registered gold reserves, but—" Dr. Konate hesitated. "But that too is in France," Traoré completed with a bitter smile. Economy Minister Ousmane Sonko shifted uncomfortably in his chair. "Mr. President, you need to understand the seriousness of the situation. You're threatening to leave the West African Economic Union. Rejecting the CFA franc is economic suicide." "Suicide?" Traoré turned, fire in his eye. "Or liberation? Tell me, Sonko, how can we be an independent country when we can't even print our own money? The CFA franc, the last chain of colonization?" Sonko spread his hands. "All of Africa uses this system. Mali, Niger, Senegal, all of them. And all of them remain perpetually poor," said Traoré, approaching the table. "Do you know why? Because every time we print a banknote, we have to deposit dollars to the French treasury in return. We pay them to use our own money. Is this freedom?" The meeting room fell into silence. Everyone knew Traoré was right, but there seemed to be no alternative. For 70 years, West African countries had used the CFA franc, the French colonial monetary system. Independence was just a piece of paper. Real power remained in Paris. Dr. Konate took a deep breath. "Mr. President, we all know you're right, but practically what can we do? We don't have the infrastructure to create our own currency. No printing presses. And if people start withdrawing money from banks tomorrow morning," Traoré placed a file on the table. "That's why I've been secretly planning this for the last 3 months." The advisors looked at the file in surprise. "Operation Sankara,"